I'm Amy.
And I'm Alden.
And this is Arts with Amy and Alden.
This is our Artist Spotlight series where we invite a professional artist to our show so that we can learn more about what they do and we get to draw along with them.
Yes, and our guest today is none other than my fabulous, amazing, talented cousin, Fran Massino. Fran is a tattoo artist and works at Stay Humble Tattoo in Baltimore, Maryland. Hi, Fran.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you began your career as a tattoo artist and maybe what it looks like today?
Sure. I started tattooing when I got out of high school. My mom actually was the one who pushed me into trying it out because I've always not been very good with computers, reading, writing, math. I've always just been good at drawing.
So Fran, can you tell us a little bit about the process for making a tattoo as a tattoo artist?
So what I do is I have a person come in, we talk, we figure out what they want, and then I use a couple of different markers and sketch what I'm going to do on the skin. Try to follow some nice lines on the body. Like if it's a sleeve, I get them to flex their tricep and see where it's flowing and try to wrap it nicely around.
Oh, so you draw it on there and then you tattoo on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about just drawing straight on the skin and then doing the tattoo. Are you ever afraid of making a mistake?
I mean, the fact is you make mistakes constantly while you're doing it, and you just sort of learn to work around them. It's kind of like when you accidentally write a E or something, and then you need to change it into a B, and you kind of come up with a clever way to loop it around and throw it up a different way. So you just kind of get good at figuring out little ways to fix things as you go.
That is such good advice for, I think, all artists out there.
What is your favorite part about being a tattoo artist?
I just like to draw. I get to go to work every day and draw. And a lot of times I get to go to work and I don't even have to draw because I already drew something before, and I just get to go in and get to color. It's great.
Peonies are a flower that are very popular for you to draw. And so I thought it'd be fun if you would draw a peony with us and our friends at home.
Sure.
This is what we're gonna draw today, a beautiful peony. It actually looks really complicated, but as I was practicing it today, it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm gonna draw in the middle of my paper a W and then add just one more hump onto there. And so this is how we'll build up the petals going around. So then right underneath of that W, I saw the letter M, so nice curved M. So underneath of that, I'm gonna go over like this and make a curved M, almost like the top of a heart. So then I'm going to close this section off by using a backward C here and a kind of like a C here. So we've kind of made this interesting shape in the middle. That's the very center of the flower. So this is the really fun part about this flower. It's just a bunch of these bumpy lines. So if you just keep going around the center with these bumpy lines, you'll make something amazing. So here on top of my W, I'm gonna just curve up 1, 2, 3, 4 times, sounds good. And then maybe I'll add these extra bumps. So over here, a couple more. And right now it really doesn't look like a flower or much of anything, but don't worry, as you keep going, it's gonna start looking like a flower more and more. So then here, I'm gonna draw, it's almost like the number 3. It goes out like that, and I'll add another hump and then a curve on the outside. So again, we need a curve on the outside, and this one has like a little point to it, and then we'll curve around. This will be, since it's on the bottom, they'll look kind of more like M's as I curve them around, and I'm going to add a few more humps all the way up to here. So I've gone shoop, 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 shoop. And then I need one big U curve to connect that petal. So it's kind of like whee, and it goes around like that. So now we can really start to see the flower is starting to take shape and it's starting to form. The last petals on the outside, they aren't curving in as much, they're curving out. So we're gonna add the humps going on the outside. So to start, there are these really cool shapes I found right here, and they look almost like wings. So we're gonna try to draw those first. I do that by going up and then out And on the other side, I'll kind of do the same thing. It's up and curve out. And then I'm going to curve it back in and then make a little hump to there. So see how it looks a little bit like a wing. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll curve it back in just a little bit and then curve it around. What's great about a flower is, just as Fran was saying earlier, it's really easy. If you feel like you made a mistake, you just kind of work with that mistake, because flowers are all different shapes. So it's really fun to draw. Remember, at any time, if you are not sure what to do and you want to go back and replay the video, you can, or if you need to pause and just look at it for a second, make sure you do that. Take your time to get it the way you want it to look. So right here, I just made some more number 3s. Look, it's 1, there's a 3, and there's a 3 to connect my little wings to the other part of the flower. I'll do that over here too, except these will be backwards 3s. And maybe I'll just do one with 3 humps like that. Ooh, that's nice. And then on the bottom, I also have these little wings coming out, but they're just going in the other direction. Fran, as you draw, do you like to turn your paper? Does that help you draw better, or do you usually just keep your paper in the same direction the whole time?
Sometimes I turn my paper. It just depends what I'm working on.
Okay.
So I guess sometimes means always, you know?
And then, so then my question is, with that, when you're doing a tattoo, you can't really turn your paper, right? Because you're drawing on a person. So how do you work with that?
You have to move people into positions that you need them to be in. So like twisting people's arms. Like if you need to work here, you can grab their arm and turn it to go that way and then work. But it just depends. You make people sit in different positions on chairs, stick their arm out in different ways. Or sometimes they just lay there on their stomach and take a nap.
Oh man, that sounds like the most painful nap ever.
Yeah, it can be.
So I've drawn those little wing shapes like I did at the top, and I kind of connected them together with those little fluffy lines again at the bottom. So now at the top, I'm gonna go back, I turned my paper back around, and I'm gonna make some more humps right here, just connecting those together. And then the last part, this is my favorite part. I felt like it was like drawing clouds, where you just kind of added some clouds on the outside from one petal to another. And this was fun because there wasn't really any wrong way to do it. So I'm gonna add another cloud on this side and another one right here. A little bit more, and there we go. I have the flower part done. What do you think, Fran?
Looks great.
Wow, look at Fran's. His is so detailed. It looks amazing. Look at how many more petals he's managed to get in there in that amount of time. That's awesome. So then I can see Fran is starting to work on the leaves that are going around it. And this is another part where it's really fun and easy, because all you're doing is kind of curving a curved triangle. So it's kind of curving up and curving back in. And you can just put these wherever you want around your flower. I noticed in the tattoos I was looking at on Fran's, they were kind of grouped in 3. Would you say that's something that you do generally?
Yeah, that's how they grow. So you definitely want to just draw them how they actually look. During the quarantine, we have a nice peony bush that our neighbors grow in our yard, and I spent an afternoon drawing them from life for a while, and that was fun, and I learned a lot about them.
Yeah, I feel like drawing what you see is super important. Do you also draw things that from your imagination?
Yeah, all the time. That's what I like to do best when I was a kid.
What are some other things that are your favorite things to draw?
I like to draw any kind of animals. I like to draw funny people that make my friends laugh.
So then I've gone around, I've just added a bunch of these leaves, and then in the middle of each leaf, I've drawn just a straight line to kind of give the impression that leaf has a little bit of a shadow.
Fran, I just love how you draw what I'm calling a wing shape.
Mm-hmm.
Where the petals curve. What did you use for your base drawing?
Yeah, for this one, I used a yellow colored pencil because at work I use a yellow Sharpie to sketch first to get a general idea of what it's gonna look like,
Yeah.
and then I use a red one over top of that.
And so if it's a tattoo that takes like a couple sessions to do you just redraw it every time, or you just draw the section? How does that work?
Outline everything in the first try, and then after that, chip away at it as much as you can take at a time.
Mm-hmm. You wanna do some coloring?
Yes.
You do a lot of pink ones. Is that just because it complements skin so well?
That's exactly why.
So all I'm doing right here is I'm going to color the entire flower this one color pink I have. And then after I do that, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little bit of shading. Okay, so I'm going to go in and start shading the inside of this, Fran. And you kind of go in with a darker color, I would think. So when I was shading it in, I think I was doing it right. I was kind of going right underneath the lines. This is what I'm saying. Like I have this line right here and I'm going underneath of it, adding just a little bit of that color. And then I was going over it again with my marker to kind of blend it. So when you do it with a tattoo, blending probably is a lot different than with another medium.
Yeah.
How does it work to get the shading?
I would say it's a little time sensitive because you don't want to overwork an area. You don't want to make the skin damaged. So you want to get in there, put the color in correctly and solidly, and then move on to the next spot.
So here I'm going back on these big curves, and I'm putting a little bit of that darker color there to add some shading. I'm noticing while you're coloring in, you're just using one color, right? You're just using one color pencil for each.
Yeah.
And so you're just pressing down harder to make the shading?
Yes.
So you've been tattooing for 14 years. I bet technology has changed a bunch in the last 14 years. Can you tell us a little bit about what's different?
Well, the machines are different. I use a different type of machine than I used to use. What I used to use was called a coil machine, and it worked with magnets and an armature bar that went up and down. But now I use a machine that has cartridges, and you just plug them into a device, and it works great.
And is there anything else with technology that's changed, or not really?
Certainly. I mean, just the way you get yourself out there and your art is completely different than when I started, because now we have Instagram, and it's a massive platform for tattoo artists to showcase their work and gain a lot of business and following. There's lots of tattoo artists that have massive followings. And
how I draw, I like to fill in everything with the light color first, and now I'm going to go back in with the darker color for the shading. And so I was looking at it, and I feel like for shading of the leaves, you have it dark on one side of the leaf.
Yes.
Like right next to it. So I'm going to make this part right here dark, and then I leave a space on the other side of the leaf, and then I make that part dark.
Yes.
And then I'll go in around it with an outline.
Yes.
And the outside of the leaves are also lighter. Am I getting it right?
Mm-hmm.
But going back to Instagram, during like the big quarantine times where everyone kind of had to stay in, your tattoo shop wasn't open, right?
Right.
And instead, what did you do?
I painted every day. When I would usually be going to work, I would just sit down at my desk and paint and draw all day.
From that, were you able to make money?
Yeah, it was great. The outreach for supporting local artists was amazing. There were so many people buying paintings. I couldn't make them fast enough. I made prints of a poster of frogs that I painted doing weird things, and those sold very quickly. Very fortunate.
Are you still doing that, or now you just don't have the time?
I don't have as much time, but I have been working at tattooing less than I was before the quarantine because I do just enjoy painting so much. I'm not making as much money, but I feel like my work's progressing at a faster rate, and I'm just having a lot more fun.
Hey, I finished.
Nice.
Wow, I love how different ours turned out. Like, it's just beautiful because it's really the same thing, but you've made yours so much more professional. Like, you've drawn it a bajillion times. I love it. We always want to ask our guest artists, what's the #1 tip for being a successful artist?
To be a successful artist, what you should do is draw all the time and whatever you're interested in. In the past few years, just realized and grown to appreciate how much the arts have done for me and kept me going.
Okay, friends, let's see those drawings. Oh, wow, they look amazing. I love the colors we chose for this artwork. Fran, thank you so much for drawing a peony with us today and talking more about your amazing career as a tattoo artist. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Remember, guys, if you want to share your artwork with us, you can always follow the link in the description box down below to our Facebook page. Your parents could always help you post a comment if you need their help. You can also check out our other social channels down below and find some links to Fran's work as well.
Thanks so much for coming, Fran.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.